Good morning, sir. My name is Sellyn, and today I'll be presenting about diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, and cross-cultural management analysis based on my internship experience at Le Polonia Hotel Medan, specifically in the pastry department. The purpose of the subject is to analyze how diversity, leadership, communication, and organizational culture influence the daily working environment in the pastry department. Throughout my 4 months internship, I observed how chefs and interns from different educational, professional, and cultural backgrounds work together to achieve the department goals. I chose this topic because I wanted to understand whether cultural difference really create challenges in hospitality workplace. I was also interested in learning how leadership and communication can create an inclusive and productive working environment. Le Polonia Hotel is a 4-star hotel located in Medan, North Sumatra. The hotel serves both business and leisure travelers and offers restaurant, banquet service, meeting rooms, and various hospitality services. My internship was in the pastry department, which is responsible for producing bread, cake, dessert, traditional Indonesian snacks, and other bakery products for hotel, restaurant, breakfast buffet, wedding, coffee breaks, and special events. The working environment was professional but also supportive. Every day was a busy day because production schedule changed depending on hotel events. Teamwork and communication were important to complete all production on time. The hotel customers were very diverse. They included business travelers, tourists, government, corporate clients, and people attending weddings or conferences. Because of this, the pastry department had to maintain high product quality and consistency. The employee also showed diversity. Although most chefs are Indonesian, the intern came from different university, ethnic background, and levels of experience. Some interns had previous hotel internship experience, while others were participating in their first internship. This created a workplace where people learned from one another while working together. For my analysis, I will connect my observation to several concepts from our course. First is diversity and DEI. The pastry department demonstrated diversity through different educational backgrounds, professional experience, and ethnic backgrounds. Although the chef shared similar cultural backgrounds, the intern came from different Indonesian ethnic groups and university. More importantly, I observed an inclusive workplace. Everyone was treated respectfully regardless of their ethnicity, religion, or previous experience. There was no visible discrimination or favoritism based on cultural identity. However, I also noticed one situation involving task allocation. One intern was repeatedly assigned to make result because he already had experience with it. Although this improved production efficiency, it reduced opportunities for other interns to learn that skill. This reflects the DEI concept of intent versus impact. The intention was to maintain efficiency, but the impact was on equal learning opportunities. The second concept is cross-cultural communication. Interestingly, cultural differences themselves rarely cause communication problems because everyone communicated in Indonesian. Instead, the main communication challenge came from operational procedures. For example, tasks were usually assigned verbally throughout the day. Sometimes, interns received instruction from different chefs at the same time, making it unclear which task should be completed first. Another issue involved recipe documentation. Instead of using standardized written recipe, interns wrote recipe manually after listening to verbal instruction. This sometimes caused difference in measurements or production method. These observations relate to Hall's high context communication theory. The department relied heavily on verbal communication and shared understanding rather than written documentation. Although this system generally worked, standardized written recipe could improve consistency and reduce misunderstanding. The third concept is leadership and psychological safety. One of the strongest aspects of the pastry department was its leadership. The pastry supervisor was approachable, supportive, and encouraged interns to ask questions whenever they experienced difficulties. Because of this leadership style, interns felt comfortable making mistakes, asking for clarification, and participating in daily production activities without fear of negative judgment. This reflects the concept of psychological safety, where employees feel safe to speak up, ask questions, and continue learning. There was one situation involving workplace expectation. Some interns wanted to leave early after completing their tasks, but the supervisor expected everyone to stay until the official end of the shift. This showed that although the workplace had open communication, clear expectation, and authority were still necessary for maintaining discipline. Finally, organizational culture. Overall, I found that the pastry department had a positive organizational culture. The culture emphasized teamwork, mutual respect, continuous learning, and customer satisfaction. Although communication procedure could still be improved, the supportive leadership and collaborative environment helped minimize the impact of cultural differences. My biggest observation was that professional differences rather than cultural differences had a greatest influence on teamwork and communication. This internship taught me many valuable lessons, both professionally and personally. One of the biggest lessons I learned was that diversity is not only about culture or ethnicity. People can also be different because of their education, experience, communication style, and technical skill. One challenge I experienced was adapting to verbal communication. Since recipe and tasks were often explained verbally, I had to listen carefully, take accurate notes, and confirm information whenever I was unsure. Another challenge was adjusting to changing work priorities. Sometimes, I was asked to complete a new task before finishing another one. At first, this was very confusing. But eventually, I became more flexible and improved my time management. My biggest aha moment was realizing that cultural diversity was not the biggest challenge in the workplace. Before starting my internship, I expected communication problems to happen because people came from different backgrounds. Instead, I discovered that most challenges came from operational systems, such as task coordination and recipe documentation. This experience helped me understand that good leadership, open communication, and an inclusive organizational culture can reduce many workplace problems, regardless of the employee's background. Overall, this internship strengthened my communication skill, teamwork, adaptability, and leadership awareness. Based on my observation, I would like to suggest several improvements. First, the pastry department should provide standardized written recipes. This would improve consistency, reduce mistakes, and make training easier for future interns. Second, the department could hold a short briefing before its shift begins. This would help clarify daily production plans, task priorities, and individual responsibilities. Third, interns should be rotated across different production areas instead of repeatedly performing the same task. This would provide more equal learning opportunities and support skill development for everyone. Finally, I recommend maintaining the current supportive leadership style because it encourages psychological safety, teamwork, confidence, and continuous learning. This improvement would strengthen both operational performance and the internship learning experience. In conclusion, my internship at La Colonia Hotel showed that diversity, equity, and inclusion together with cross-cultural management plays an important role in creating a positive workplace. The pastry department demonstrated supportive leadership, teamwork, and mutual respect among employees and interns from different backgrounds. Although communication system can still be improved through better documentation and task coordination, the department has already created an inclusive environment that supports learning and collaboration. So that was all from our presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.